the good old juice train. The train that I catch all the time, and I am so used to. Welcome back to the Sunshine State Rails. Today is August 24th, 2019. We are out here on the Palmetto Subdivision, here to Railfan CSX's line between Tampa and Bradenton. The first train, as you can clearly see, is the Tropicana juice train, making its way through downtown Palmetto on its way to Yeoman Yard in Tampa. And we were going all the way today, so the chase begins. Already off to that train chase start, jumping out of the car and having little time to get your camera on and press that big red button. And the chase continues. Question for you everybody. I am trying out a new GoPro view for chasing trains, this one right here. Be sure to let me know what you think about this new view in the comments section. It's going to be a little difficult to rate it with the next few shots because the train was in a place where it's not easy to see, but go ahead and rate it when you get a chance or if you feel like it. We had made some pretty good distance by the time we hit Sun City, so we just pulled over, I hopped out, and had plenty of time to set up before the two ES40 DCs were barreling down on us. Here we go, this is much better. Now, coming up to the Little Manatee River, we can actually see the train as we pace it along US 41. The Little Manatee River was not even a quarter mile ahead of us by that point, so we jumped ahead to State Road 674, so we waited for the old bells and gates to lower and signified that the Tropicana juice train was about to head over the just as old Palmetto Subdivision. Here in Ruskin, all the way to Apollo Beach, then again until Gibsonton, the road would split away from the trackage for quite a while. So we jumped all the way to Gibsonton not to risk it, and waited on the Tropicana juice train 082324 to make his way to us. Making our final stretch of the way up to Tampa, we stop in at Adamo Drive and the old CSX TS crossing. I'm not usually one to spurt out a lot of history, but since I spend a lot more time here than I'd like to admit, I'll go ahead and give you guys the whole spiel. As the track curves down there, it enters CSX's Yeoman Freight Yard. About a quarter mile north of that is CSX's Uceda Intermodal Yard. This is the very beginning of the Palmetto Sub heading south at milepost AZA 879.1, and the relay box here is still marked TS for the old CSX TS crossing that was once here. The SAL Tampa Main, which then became CSX's Yeoman Freight Yard, where the back exit of Yeoman Yard is now, this line crossed it in a diamond interlocking, then entered ACL's Uceda Yard. And yes, as many people know, the Palmetto Subdivision was ex-ACL trackage. So though that track plant no longer exists, the Palmetto Subdivision now takes a curve to enter CSX's Yeoman Freight Yard, and there is now another track called the Transfer, which leads from the top of CSX's Yeoman Freight Yard to the lead of CSX's Uceda Yard. So if locomotives or cars need to be moved from yard to yard, the transfer track is there to move from Yeoman to Uceda, back again, and whatever they need. Oh yeah, and by the way, here is CSX train Y10324, a local/yard job that comes out of CSX's Yeoman Freight Yard and heads down the Palmetto Subdivision to work industries, usually between here and the Alafaya River in Gibsonton. Finally, after about 2 hours, came the train we were waiting on. Oh, I think you can probably guess what train this is. Oh yeah, it's 0750. He is coming south out of CSX's Yeoman Freight Yard to head down the Palmetto Subdivision and switch, usually, everything south of the Alafaya River. Y103 and 0750 are pretty much Palmetto Subdivision partners. Y103 is usually the switcher for all the industries north of the Alafaya River, and 0750, with the exception of sometimes Rockport Yard, is the switcher of usually everything south of the Alafaya River. So Y103 works Tampa to Gibsonton, and 750 works Gibsonton to Bradenton. Our next shot on our way south would be in Gibsonton, just south of the Alafaya River in the background. 0750's consist is pretty simple today. Pulling the short train is a solo Jeep 38-3, hauling a loaded center beam for Port Manatee, 2 loaded rock hoppers for Conrad Yelvington and Palmetto, and 2 tank cars, also for Port Manatee. Next stop on our way south was quite frustrating. The Little Manatee River in Ruskin, Florida again. The reason this being frustrating was because they couldn't get a bridge tender out here to close the bridge for about half an hour. And while 0750 was stranded on the north side of the river, we were stranded in the heat. And believe me, that takes a toll on you, especially at 5:30 in the afternoon. When they finally did get a bridge tender out here, they swiftly closed the bridge, and 750 wasted no time getting across that swing span, which, by the way, still has Atlantic Coastline Railroad lettering. As we know, the Palmetto Sub was once ACL trackage, so when they built this bridge, they put that on it, and in 2019, it's still there. Here is the last railroad crossing before Port Manatee, where this train would stop to do about a half hour of switching. By this point, my friend Stetson had met up with me. Go check him out on YouTube under the Bradenton Railfan. Yeah, switching is boring, so let's just skip that. 750 drops off the center beam and tank cars and rounds the corner heading to Palmetto with the 2 rock hoppers. Finally, we head straight to Palmetto. This scene may or may not look familiar to some of you. In a Palmetto Subdivision railfanning video I made about 2 months ago, I discussed about how a main road crossing in Palmetto was under construction, implementing new crossing signals and railroad track. And as of today, August 24th, 2019, this railroad installation has been completed. Traffic is now running steadily through here, and so are the trains. As you can see, there is a new crossing cantilever on the other side, but the old crossing cantilever that I discussed about being taken down in the other video turns out to still stand, which I am very happy about because it seems to be an old installation that has been here for quite some time. Turning around the other way, 0750 is making his way into downtown Palmetto to shove up onto this spur to head up toward the Conrad Yelvington and pick up some empty cars, a process which my friend Stetson stayed for, but I did not. And this here would conclude our day-long outing of rail fanning on CSX's Tampa to Bradenton Palmetto Sub. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and until next time, this is Kotabeaner, and I'll see you next time on the Sunshine State Rails.